Oh, man, I got this cold steel here. Look at this thing. This is the Ultimate Hunter. 3.5 inch blade. It's 8.5 inches overall. S35VN steel, just under 5 ounces. And it's got G10 scales on it. Let's get it out of here and check it out. So I don't know if you know, but the G10 that cold steel uses is just the most awesome stuff. You know, there's G10, and then there's like Spyderco G10. There's like cold steel G10. There's ZT G10. Yeah, this stuff, I mean, it just doesn't feel like any other G10. It's almost soft and supple. Yeah, look at this thing, man. Let's get rid of this packaging. Comes with a reversible clip that you can throw on the other side. It takes a different clip. They send it in the box. It's pretty cool. I think almost all cold steel knives have that function. If not all, definitely the ones that have reversible clips, you know, come with that extra clip. Yeah, it's a cool feature. So many knives don't, you know. They just say, you just one or the other. And it is what it is. But they consider the lefty. I am not a lefty, so it's kind of inconsequential to me. But, wow, look at that S35BN. Satin finish on there. Just beautiful. Nice. Is that a flat grind or a hollow grind? I don't remember on this knife. I'm going to check. I think that's a hollow grind. Man, come on. How do I not know this? And did it not say? I'll confirm it before the end of the video. Yep. Let's check that action. It's got that triad lock. So nice. I mean, when they lock up, they lock up. Love to slow roll a cold steel knife. This one's pretty stiff. One of the things I can do to aid that action is I can put some tension on this lock and then function that action a little bit, and it will polish those two metals together. So a little bit of lock stick right there, and there's a lot of tension on that back spring. Yeah. Oh, this knife is so good. Yeah, I can make it drop shut. A little bitty shake. Yeah. Almost a spear, right? Drop point, but almost a spear. So this one, I mean, looking at this, yeah, this is not one that I'm going to drop onto my finger. I guess if my finger was right there, I'd be all right. But, I mean, my guess is this blade is crazy sharp, and I do not want that falling down on my finger. Well, let's get in here. I mean, we may have some tuning to do on this knife as well. Big pivot pins, got some Loctite on it. And then these are T6s. And on this orange, I mean, if I keep this knife, this one may go purple. really deep, dark, black purple, you know? Like put it in there, boil it for an hour in the purple. Just get it as deep and rich as I possibly can. I wonder if that scale will come now. Yeah, there it comes. A little finagling. Big bronze washer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the tension off of the blade and I'm going to raise the blade up. Both washers came off. And then I'm going to remove this front pin. The pivot fell out. And then I'm going to remove this bottom pin right here. And that will allow the lock to go forward. And then I can remove the lock bar. And then here's the spring. And then we've got this backspacer back here. G10. I don't really see any need to take it out, so I think I'm going to leave it. I'm also going to leave this pin. And I can leave the pocket clip. Yep. So a little wipe down. And then we'll talk about some of the tuning things we can do here. Like, I most definitely will polish those washers. And I probably will most definitely polish this surface because it rides on the other surface that I'm going to polish, which is the back of this blade right here, where these two come together. And I can see that they are touching just on that dark edge. Yep, over here on this far edge. They're just touching there. But I'm going to polish this surface really well, and then I'm going to polish this surface really well. And I think that'll help that action. Plus I'll polish these washers. Got Teflon up against the steel. And we'll remember to put that back in order. And then I don't think I'm going to polish that. I may polish that, but I think I'll leave it be. Oop. I just shot a screw to the floor, or a pin. Let's find it. Well, oh, there it is. It's in my shorts. A little screw. Okay. Well, let's get everything wiped down, and then we'll commence to some polishing. And the other thing, I may lighten some of the tension on this spring. May take just a little bit of the tension out of that. Let's wipe the oil off of these. Get a look. I mean, I don't see anything horrible here, but I definitely can polish that up. Wipe the oil off of the nylon washers, or Teflon. A little bit of oil on them. And I think that's it. Everything's been wiped down. I can maybe wipe that pivot off. It's got some oil on it. And this pin. It's a pivot for the lock. That deal right there. Okay. I think we're in good shape. Let's go ahead and polish those. We'll polish the washers first. And I am going to use this handy, what is it, 3000 or 6000 grit belt, I think. One of those two. Really fine grit. I mean, I've made a few passes and it should reveal the surface of the washer. Like if it's got high spots or a burr on it. I don't feel a burr. It appears to be going across this belt pretty good. I actually am going to fold this because I keep catching myself. Catching my nail. I think if I fold that, I'm going to do a little better. Yeah. There we go. Flip it over, catch that other side. Yeah, very nice. Shined up wonderfully. Yep. Looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good. That one might have had a little burr on that side. Maybe. Maybe not. Once I got it going, it run pretty good. I was able to get some sanding done. Polishing. Polishing is probably the better word. There's not enough grit really on this belt to do any sanding. It's strictly a polisher. Okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but should run pretty good. Yeah, both of them are shined up. You can see them. They look equally shiny. Now I'm going to polish this up, and I'm actually going to run my belt on it. Only because it's way quicker for me to do it this way than to do that by hand. And I am going to use a 3000 grit belt. Now, what does that grit mean? I mean, just so we're clear, I don't know. I don't know if those designations are correct, if that's truly 3000 grit, like 3000 grit sandpaper. I don't know. But I know it's going to polish this up a lot. It's going to be amazing. So if you look at it, look how it's polishing. So it's low in the center, and so this edge over here, this very edge on this side, that's what was riding on the back of the blade. The other side's polishing as well, but this is the only side that was actually contacting the blade. And it wasn't running very smooth. How about now? Yeah, buddy. Just had to commit. Yeah, it's nice and shiny now. We'll go with that. And then I want to do the back of this blade also. This is where it makes contact, right here. Had to get some juice in the camera. Yeah, this is where it makes contact. You can see that dark line. That's where it was contacting. And so we're going to polish this up. Okay. That whole surface is polished up now. So let's let's kill the noisemaker. And let's draw our attention to one last thing, and that's this spring. And I think we're going to take just the tiniest little bit of tension out of this spring. So the way I'm going to do that is with a couple of pairs of pliers. I'm just going to get a hold of it. And then bend that down just slightly. Just the tiniest little bit. There we go. And so all those things combined should give us a really smooth action. All right, so first step, we're going to go here. And then we're going to go here. Get this lock in here, like so. And then let's put the pivot in. It's captured in the G10, which, you know, I've had comments about that, but in the end, it's just so that I can tighten the screw, and once it sucks it together and tensions on it, the lock part's really, you know, it's not doing anything. It's not a long-term structural issue of the knife, for sure. Then I want to put this pin in right here. I'm going to put a little tension on it and get that pin in there. There we go. And that'll hold it up there. And then this stop pin, I gotta lift up on this because the head of that lock will butt up against that pin. Yep, and so now that pin's in. And so the next thing is the blade. So the first thing we're going to do is put this washer in. And I'm going to put just the tiniest little bit of lube down on that G10. Does it do anything? I don't know. Maybe not. All right. And then I'm going to put some lube. And the Teflon. Stuck to my finger. And then a little bit of lube. And I'm going to pull up on the lock and put our blade down. There we go. Okay. And then a little lube. Teflon. And some lube. And our washer. And then I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of lube there. It's a lot of lube and a lot of washers. But now we can set our scale on. Yep. Like a glove. Now it's a washer knife, so, you know, the tension here on the pivot, it's got to be reasonable. You can't overdo it for sure because the knife won't run. You know, you put too much tension on that and the knife can't function. But before we get involved in that, we're going to get these back screws in. Start with that back one and snug it up. And then this next one, I'm not going to go as tight with it. I'm just going to get it to seat. And once it hits, I'll back it off a little bit and get it kind of tight. Now, I should be very locked up there. Yes. Still got a little bit of lock stick going. I mean, I don't mind because these knives definitely, that will work itself out. It's getting smoother. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just the tiniest little bit of oil here because that's where that metal's running. Oh yeah, made all the difference in the world right there. Very locked up. might try to see if I can't take some of the tension out of this pivot. Yeah, it was pretty tight. Let's see where we're at there. Yeah, no wiggle. There it is. And that will drop. Yep, got to watch my fingers. Put a little tension on that. It's oiled now, so it's got lube. We'll just work that in a little bit. Oh, so tight. So the lockup, so satisfying on these. Yeah, that's really tight. Let's try right there. But I want to check this screw. How tight is this? Oh yeah, that's pretty tight. It's really tight. Let's go there. How about this one? Ooh, this one is way over tight. Let's try that. And then this one more time. Okay. Getting there. Oh, getting so satisfying now to slow roll that out. Whack. And when that locks up, I mean, yeah, if you don't know what Cold Steel does with that dryhead lock, man, go to coldsteel.com and watch them torture test these knives. Good grief. I mean, I don't know on this particular knife, but if I remember, they literally clamp this into a holder and then hang like 600 pounds off of this lock, and it doesn't fail. And then after that, they take the knife like this and just beat it down on a piece of wood. And I think they have a machine now that takes this thing spring-loaded and goes whack onto a 2x4 and trying to break that lock or get it to fail. Now, those are controlled videos. I mean, you know, but listen, the fact that they torture these knives so much like that, I mean, you just got to be impressed. I mean, I always find it interesting how, you know, in the knife community, you know, people talk about the failures of certain knives, or I'd never, you know, buy that or whatever, but they're carrying knives that don't even come anywhere near to testing their stuff like these guys do. I mean, you know, there may be other companies, but boy, they are few and far between when you find a knife manufacturer that will smash their product like these guys will. Yeah. Now, they've sold their company and it's not owned by the original owner anymore. But as far as I know, the products coming out of there are just as robust. The lock, the patent, the manufacturing is the same. Well, let's talk about this action, get this video moving. So it is a washer action, Teflon and then bronze, and with that said, the drop action on it is pretty solid. I mean, at this point, this action is really smooth. It's a little stiff. I mean, to be truthful, I think I could take some more out of that spring. It is taking a healthy amount of tension to operate that spring. And I think that I could fare well to take some of that tension out. Like this blade is almost free if I would just relieve a little bit of that spring tension. I'm going to do that real quick. So in order to get that spring, I do got to break the knife down. I got to get to here. So let me make an adjustment and then we'll get her back together. Okay, we're all done tweaking it, messing around. Let's see what we have for action here. So it's much easier to slow roll right now. Very comfortable, very smooth. Couple of shakes and it'll come down. The spring tension's still solid. I could lighten it some more, but on a knife like this, I think I would wait. Let the knife be used a little bit and functioned and see how much it smooths out before I go adjusting springs anymore. But, I mean, man, that's a pretty good drop right there on a cold steel. Look at that. So, what would I call this action? I mean, for what it is, washers, and only because it is so satisfying to slow roll this knife. Whoop, and then the lockup. Just that final settle in lock, man, right there is so good. I mean, if you haven't experienced it, go somewheres to a knife store, sporting goods, gun shop, somebody where you can put your hands on one of these and just experience that. Because if you haven't, I mean, that's so satisfying for a knife, and especially a user, to bring this thing out of pocket and then hear that solid lockup. I mean, it's good stuff. So, I mean, for what it is, I mean, I'm biased, man, and it's my rating, but I'm going to rate this, even though it's washers and Teflon and all that, I'm going to give this an A rating. For what it is, it's wonderful. It's just not what it's not, and it is what it is. And it is what it is very well. Ergonomics, got this wonderful jimping. It's on the scales and in the lock. It's all been milled in there. And so it's not combat, but boy, it's really good. The four fingers just fit in here wonderfully. The knife is long enough that you don't have hot spots here. It just goes beyond my hand. So this grip is very confident. You got not so confident, and very confident. Definitely a confident grip here with the thumb forward or the power grip, very confident. And then you can cap that with your thumb and, drill, whatever. And this knife also works in a Pakal style grip in a reverse. I mean, this is a good solid grip. And if I'm coming down with this knife, this is the position I want to be in. I want to be coming this way, not this way, because you're almost encouraging the knife to fail and go against your fingers even. Where this way, you're coming in with the blade. And this knife definitely grips this way. Very comfortable that way. And so, as far as grips, powerful grips. No matter where you grab this knife, it's powerful. Let's talk about the pocket clip. I mean, for the most part, these cold steel pocket clips run really well and really strong tension. And this one's no exception. Very strong tension, and of course, by design, it's the way a pocket clip should be. When you put a knife in your pocket, you expect it to be here, whether you just went for a good run, a tumble down a hill, some scuffle, whatever. When you go to look for this knife, you want it to be where you left it. And in typical cold steel fashion, this pocket clip's going to accomplish that. It's one hand in, one hand out, but it's got really good knife retention in the pocket. And it's because there's a lot of tension on this. I can't even lift it up. Yeah, barely get it off of the scale. I keep getting dirt on it. What about safety? Yeah, so obviously you can't contact the blade there. The tip is recessed just below this little rise here. And so the clip is wonderful, the tip's good, and of course there's no chance of incidental blade contact in the pocket. Wonder if this knife is sharp. And I mean, I will be stunned if it's not like a razor. Yeah. I mean, cold steel gets it, man. If you're going to sell a knife, the one thing, I mean, the one thing, it has to be sharp. You don't want to be known for, yeah, their knives are cool designs, but they're typically not sharp. right? Like, how fundamental, man. Somebody in the boardroom said, yeah, hey, no matter what, like, we're not going to debate. No matter what, the knives are sharp. And if we can't get them sharp, then we don't ship them. Let's figure that out. We're a knife company. What do we got? Price and availability. And then I want to confirm if that's a flat grind or a hollow grind. And I'm going to do that right now. Okay. It is not a hollow ground. It is a flat grind. And it's a beautiful satin finish flat grind that is crazy sharp, that grind on there. S35VN, this G10 that they do is soft. It's wonderful. It's got a nice texture, good grip. And the place to go for this is Amazon. You can pick these up at Amazon. Everywhere else, they're over $100. $110, $120, $130. Amazon, $85, and you can get it next day. What's up? $85 from Amazon. Come on. Ultimate Hunter cold steel S35VN with that cold steel G10 and a little tuning, and this thing is a wonderful action knife. I call it A-level action, man. I mean, I appreciate you watching, but check one out. They're pretty cool.